Now this is the real thing. Hey, welcome to the pastor's office. This is Todd Frederick. I'm joined by my good friends JP Marr, Jeremy Toyer, and Kyle Young. Between us, we form the Cooperative, a group of churches in Jackson County who are trying to find ways to work together to spread the gospel, because it's one of the most important and significant things we can do as pastors and as the church. And so this is the third episode. And so this one I'm calling Digital Easter. You know, we've just finished Easter Sunday, kind of the Super Bowl of the church, you know, a very big event. A lot of planning goes into it. In past years, well, was it last year that we actually had like 4 different services? And so in our follow-up meeting after having those 4 different services, we decided not to do that ever again.
Never again.
It was a
lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. So, but right now we have about 2 million cases of the coronavirus worldwide. Some of those are serious. And I've started to kind of focus my attention in on Jackson County. There are 172 people here who have confirmed cases. There are 6 people who have died. Don't know exactly how full the hospital is or how intense that is. But Kyle, how far are we into the stay-at-home order? I know you've been keeping track.
How far?
How many days?
How many days?
Day 30. Well,
day 30.
I think the stay at home is a week after I started doing videos, because we got like social distancing significantly, or shelter in place without there being forced to. So, but we're day 30 of the days I'm doing videos. So
Day 30. So we're at least 3 solid weeks into the isolation order. And as churches, we've all had to do something different, you know, just because of this shelter in place order. So maybe we could just kind of take turns. You know, JP, what are you guys doing that's different?
We are actually videoing beforehand and editing the whole sermon, which we had never done before. I think some years ago they attempted to do it, but the whole thing was not well done. So, but we've done that, and we've actually received a ton of positive responses. I've been tracking the analytics on the views and from where, from whom, how long, and it seems to be very beneficial to most of our people. So,
hey, Jeremy, what are you guys doing?
Very similar to what JP was doing as well. We're recording sermons on Friday and editing them together with some music and some announcements and that sort of a thing, as well as doing recorded midweek updates. We use a video email platform that also allows our people to record a video reply. And so we've been encouraging our people to do that. And then we've been showing those videos either during the midweek or during our regular Sunday morning worship time. We haven't had a whole lot of people take us up on that. There's still, I think, just a sense of weirdness about the whole video thing. We weren't doing anything video-wise before this, and so this has kind of forced our hand on that. And something I'd like to see continue. I think it's been very well received by our people. We get hearing from some people that, you know, worked on Sundays previously, and so they weren't able to attend worship services as much as they wanted to. And so it's been a good thing overall, I would say.
Yeah. So those guys are doing recordings. Kyle, you're still preaching live, right?
No, I'm doing recordings. Yeah.
Oh, you're doing recordings too?
It just comes out live.
Gotcha.
Yeah. We live broadcast.
Live. Yeah. Okay. So you're doing recordings too. Are you also editing things before they get put out there?
Yeah. We have like an hour and 45-minute broadcast. Or
wow.
Yeah. So it's
pushing the boundaries all the time. I remember visiting your church, and it inspired me because we go pretty much right at an hour, and you went like an hour and a half, and I thought, man, I'm cheating my people. So
people have nothing to do right now. So, I mean, if you think about it, like shorter is generally better, but like they don't have anything else to do. So, I mean, we typically see, like with anything, like we've been doing online since I got here. and the other churches I've worked at online. So
Hi.
it's just a great thing.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, bud.
How you doing, buddy?
How's it
Good.
going?
Everybody said hi. Okay, now bounce.
Okay.
Kyle, are you able to track your videos? We've got tracking like metrics and that kind of a thing, and we're finding that I don't want to say a lot, but there's several people that don't watch all the way through the video. Like, we put out a 30-minute video and the average watch time on it is 19 minutes. I guess that's one of the things that I've been struck by during this whole thing is that, there's some social pressure when somebody comes to your service on a Sunday morning to stay there in their seat until the service is over, because that's rude. They can't just get up and leave in the middle of the service. But when they're watching you on video, if they get tired of you or whatever, they can hit stop. They can go check their Facebook. They can go, go play Fortnite or whatever else.
That's the on-demand nature of people. I mean, just think about it. If you don't like a song on Sunday, you sit there and you just compromise. But
Right.
Online, if someone doesn't like a song, they're going to go do something else and come back in 4 minutes and see if the song's over. And the same thing with the message. If they were getting bored in the message, they're gone.
Yeah.
And so they're going to go find something else to do or find another pastor to listen to. Or in this day and age, they can just go listen to like one of the big on TV preachers, because that's what you're being compared to. So the quality of the streaming is important, I think, right now, and understanding the really figuring out who your viewers are and what content your viewers want to see.
I would agree.
On a regular basis. And I think that the more they like you personally, the more they'll deal with the compromise moments, but the less connected they are to you, the more likely they're going to bounce and come back. We see a lot of bouncing come back, but we had 1,000 more views for Easter than we do on a regular Sunday viewing. So we had like 2,100 views on Facebook. And then I don't know, like 100 and some on YouTube. We don't have a huge YouTube audience. But those are, people are watching, but they do come in and out. But I do it because I go from YouTube to Facebook to YouTube, and just checking all the streams, commenting on all of them. So people do that as well, trying to figure out where their friends are. I think part of it is just figuring out where their friends are watching. Like, you want to watch on YouTube if all your friends are watching on YouTube, because then you can talk to them all. But if everybody's on Facebook, you want to be there. But then what if somebody starts a watch party? Because if they start a watch party, they can't comment with everybody else in the group, because they can only comment within the watch party. So now you got to go join the watch party. So we've had people I thought weren't watching, but they were just in a watch party with somebody else, and we never got a notification they were watching. So
Gotcha.
Understanding how it all works, is, but you can go, my grandma goes to 6 churches every Sunday right now.
Yeah, I think that's another part of this that's interesting. You can go to church all day on Sunday. You can spend the day listening to, and I think that's a fair point. Now we're being compared, little country preachers being compared to, the guys who do nothing but preach. All of us have various and sundry responsibilities. I'm currently the janitor in addition to my other stuff that I have going on. My janitor's off. So I'm preaching live. So basically I live about 100 yards from the church. And so we stream on Facebook and record what we do. We have a limited praise team coming in with some visitors from time to time. And so we're practicing social distancing. Everybody pretty much comes in, does their thing, and then leaves. But I think I would like the opportunity to sort of like edit my preaching a little bit, because it's like, oh, this didn't work. Let me cut that out. And even, it's really kind of strange to tell a joke to 5 people. It's kind of an uncertain moment, because usually if you can get the person who understands your sense of humor to laugh, then you're okay. But if the people who are there don't get your sense of humor and they don't laugh, then all of a sudden you're just like, your self-esteem is, just a puddle on the floor, and you're like, this is horrible.
So
anyway.
Todd, would you say you haven't changed much about your preaching itself? You're just doing it in front of a camera now? Because
see, this is something that we started almost 2 years ago. We had a family overseas in Germany, and they wanted to feel connected and feel, like they were with us. And so we started recording on a GoPro camera, and it was, as far as like production value and quality of video and audio, it was pretty bad. But we were doing it just to try and help them stay connected.
Okay.
And so we upgraded that as we've gone along. And so it's better than it was, but it certainly wasn't like we didn't start from ground zero and then put a whole bunch of money into making sure that our online presence was kind of top tier. Our goal with our online stuff was to help people see what we're about so that they could then come and join us at the building.
Well, I guess I was asking more about your sermons themselves. I feel like my sermons, where if we were meeting in a building on a Sunday morning, I usually preach a 45-minute sermon or so, and it's got 3 main points, and it's got application and all of this. Whereas now, preaching to a video, like you said, the dynamic is so different in that you're not interacting with an audience and that sort of a thing. And so I find myself, it's shorter because of attention spans, but it's also not as formal. It's more me, an encouraging thought. Let's go to scripture. This is what the scripture says. Let's remember this week, rather than a full blown sermon. You're saying you haven't really changed that around too much.
No, I haven't changed what I'm doing. Even down to like my PowerPoints are very, in my preaching, in my PowerPoint, my visuals are not words. So I try to include pictures, because then what I do, I take that same sermon and redo it on Sunday night for a Zoom audience. We've been doing that for about 1.5 years. So,
right.
So yeah, as far as like content, I haven't changed anything.
What about the rest of you guys? Kyle, JP, what are you guys doing as far as content's concerned?
The content that our teaching pastor is using is the same that he would use on a Sunday morning.
Okay.
And what we've done along with our video is we actually send PDFs of the notes out.
Oh, wow.
So people can follow along. And we have a church app where they can log in, and actually if they want to follow along and fill the notes out, just like they would on a Sunday morning.
That's great.
So that really has kind of kept some stability in what they're used to. And we've actually had requests. The first time we did the video, we decided let's not send the PDFs out to see what response we get. And then right after we sent it out, like within a couple hours, people were starting to email in saying, hey, is there any way we can get the notes? Because I think it helps them track with what's being said.
Oh, absolutely.
And not just listening, but reading at the same time. So we're capitalizing on more of the senses, 2 of the 5. And that way it's easier for them to stay connected. But going back to something that you said earlier, we have noticed that there's a limit with people's attention span. And I think Kyle is dead on. They're flipping back and forth, and they want to be where their friends are, even though they're not with them. They're with them, in the technological way. And that's just the way the culture is. We find the same thing on Sundays, because we have an open network at our church on Sundays where people follow the notes. I can track during that time where people have went, and it's funny because half of the time people are on other sites while they're listening to the sermon, like they're looking at Facebook, but they're still there in the service. So, I think staying with the same format has done well for us at this point. So yeah, I think it's been good that way.
How do you think things are going to change, Kyle? How do you think things are going to change or stay the same with this? Because I think your perspective is to be more focused on your online presence.
Oh, I think everything's going to change. I think church has changed overnight. I think church is not going to get back to normal. I think people who try to get back to normal with church are gonna miss the opportunity. So, I mean, my first hire after this is I'm going to hire somebody just to do online stuff at our church. That's it. I mean,
that's interesting because I'm tuning up my resume and focusing on my online experiences.
So, I mean, but that really is where we have to go. I mean, the one thing that we can do no matter what is online. And so we have taken the avenue to do it extremely well at a high level and to put out the highest. So every week we've improved. I'm only preaching 29 minutes or less, because now we're on the radio, so I have to hit that mark. So, and we had an issue where I was 4 minutes short Sunday because there were some technical problems. So I actually had to cut a 3-minute splice into the sermon. So I had to find a part of the sermon where I could expound on a point, and then I had to record 3 more minutes and splice it in, and then try to make it seem seamless because I had to hit the radio time, and then we had to cut the audio. And so it actually didn't take as much time as it thinks, because we got some programs to allow us to do it. But those are just some things that we have to be aware of. But I mean, I did one that was like 42-minute message, and basically the response from people was like, yeah, I got up and walked to the fridge and did this stuff, because they just don't have that kind of attention span. Mm-hmm. And anytime there's a video or there's a transition or anything in the sermon, like we had some like cool 15-second video cuts, but that is 15 seconds that someone might leave the sermon. It's kind of like reading a book. Every time you get to the end of a chapter, there's a time someone can put the book down, never pick it back up. So I've taken that kind of thought and put it into my sermon. I'm trying to keep people engaged all the way through, making sure that, we did some really interactive stuff for Easter. I had some stereograms that people had to look at, where you have to look at it cross-eyed or some weird way to see the image. And then I did one where they had to stare at the image of Jesus for 30 seconds. And then when you looked away and blinked, you could actually see Jesus very clearly, just to make more interactive element to keep people engaged in what's going on. And then to keep them talking about it later, because, hopefully later they'll go like, it was really cool, like seeing Jesus, the ghost of Jesus in the service. So, and just connecting it to story and scripture when they were talking about, was Jesus a ghost when he came and saw the disciples. So I'm really trying to focus on the interactive elements. We're doing the same thing with youth group. I'm a magician, Zambini, the magician for youth group, and doing some things that are interactive, kind of like old school television type stuff. Just trying to break the barrier of that wall between the audience and the television screen. And we'll see if it pays off, but we're definitely putting a lot of effort into it, and recording all the pieces and parts, and we'll see where it goes.
That's one of the things that I've really, and this is maybe something that's not in our pre-show briefing, but how are youth and young people staying connected? Because I know with my grandson, he's in kindergarten, and the school is desperately trying to use online meetings to engage kindergartners.
Wow.
And it's like the educational value is about this much, and the connectional value is good because he likes to see his friends. But how are we connecting with young people and youth?
I don't think any.
I think, it's hard to gauge that, but I was thinking about this yesterday. Our younger people were not caught off guard as much as others, because they're always connected through technology. Like, they can be sitting in the same room and they're connecting through technology.
Right.
That's how that works. So I don't think there was a whole lot of transition in my mind, as I've just thought about it. And we're talking to some of our ministry staff, and it was like, how were things going? Good, just like they always are. So it was like almost kind of the same. I think in the lower grades, what we found is some of our teachers in our elementary grades have actually sent letters and communications to the younger kids, pages to color. I don't think the online thing is the thing. I think it has to be in front of them, interactive. I see it with my grandkids, when they get a coloring page from there, and they're connecting with mom and dad and the kid at the same time. So I think for us, it's been, I think more my age and, the middle 30s and up, the ones that check their email once every 8 days, it's like, I think they're suffering more because of their lag time with technology. That's just how it appears anyway.
I think that's a very valid point, that our young people are already in the digital world. I set up a Zoom meeting for Wednesday night church at the request of one of my parishioners. And it was like, our Wednesday night is pretty low key. We get together, we pray. There's a lot of just fellowshipping, just people getting together. And so it was really fun to see them kind of connect on Zoom. And we didn't have much of an agenda. It was just, let's share some prayer requests. Let's spend some time in prayer. And then they just hung out. We had about 8 people on Zoom, relaxing at home, in various stages of relaxation, and just enjoying one another. So it was kind of fun. I've had to teach some old folks how to use Facebook. So, Jeremy, you have an array of children at home. How are they connecting and staying connected? Probably the broadest array of any of us.
I think like JP, just like what JP was saying, the older ones are connecting with Zoom, whether it be with teachers at school, whether it be with classmates at school, whether it be with the youth group. Our youth pastor, Matt Tucker, here at Village Hope, has been doing weekly Zoom meetings. He's been doing youth group Zoom meetings on Sunday nights. He's been doing something on Wednesday nights, just like a game night, trying to keep the kids connected. My younger ones have gotten some coloring pages, like JP was talking about, from their Sunday school teachers and stuff like that. And they're kind of settling in. You talk about the array of kids I have at home. My kids have connections within the home, and so it's not like they're sitting around going, "Oh, there's nobody to play with." Well, yeah, you got a brother and a sister, and go outside and jump on the trampoline, kind of a thing. So there's an advantage that way. But I think it's back to what JP was saying, is that the kids already were connecting using technology. Sometimes even if they were in the same room. I thought that was
right.
That was a very astute observation there. And so this has not caught the kids off guard as much as it has the more experienced members of my congregation, I'm going to say.
Thank you for that. We appreciate your acknowledgement of our age and wisdom. Yeah.
Something that we did about a month ago, which was interesting, that relates to that, was we had we have an over 55 ministry, and they all got together and they asked, is there any way we could have some young people come to our get together and teach us how to use social media? So what we did was we took the 20s and almost 30s, some younger 20s, and matched them with some 65, 65 plus, be able to show them, okay, this is how you do this. Unbeknownst to us, that we were going to be thrust into something for them to have to use, the media stuff. So that was actually weird how that worked out, but it ended up being a positive thing.
So that happened before all of this lockdown and social distancing and everything.
About a month. It was about a month prior, which we did. I mean, it was like, because they said, we need to learn how to use this stuff. They had a desire to want to be on the same page and to be more progressive with how they get information, but they didn't know how to do it. So they said, can you have some younger people come? So we had some college age people, probably 6 or 8, and they sat at the table and took the phones and showed them, hey, this is Facebook, and this is how you do this, and this is how you do your emails, and actually proved to be a little, I wouldn't say prophetic, but timely, in to where we are today.
So did you learn anything at this meeting as you were being instructed in Facebook and all that? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I think what I learned from what I heard and just talking to people, was that, a lot of times you have a tendency to think, well, the older people aren't going to get along with the younger people, and because people are going to think that they're boring, and that was not the case at all. Yeah. We actually, it was a cross-generational meeting, and it actually was more positive than we had initially thought. I mean, it was just a good time of them hanging out together, cross generations, and they all, said it was a good thing.
So what, apart from being stuck at home, as from a church perspective and from what you're doing as a church, what don't you like about this? Like we've talked about some of the positive digital, using digital stuff. What are the real liabilities, either associated with being digital or associated with just not being able to be around people?
I think it's too easy to lose a sense of community during a time like this. Like we said, the digital things, the technology helps. There are ways to do that, but it's not everybody's up on that stuff. Not everybody's comfortable with those things, and even with technology, there's still that barrier there. Cody was, or not, sorry, Kyle was talking earlier about trying to break down that wall, that technological wall, and I think that's the biggest challenge during this time is to maintain that sense of community while using this technology, because there is kind of a natural wall that's built that can be easy to hide behind, or even people don't even want to use the technology, and so they just kind of disconnect. And so that's my main concern as a pastor during this time, is how do I maintain that connection? How do I keep people connecting on a spiritual level?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, using technology helps, but there's still a gulf there sometimes that we need to try and span.
I did marriage counseling over Zoom. Like we had a marriage counseling meeting just to talk through some stuff with folks. And, there's holding someone's attention, while you're trying to engage both people. Reading body language is really tough. Hey, hey, are you with me? Are you thinking about this? What's going on here? Trying to make sure you ask the right questions. One of the things that we do, and I think we're all pretty high contact when it comes to ministry, we do a lot of dinners with people. And so now it's like we can't have people over for dinner, because that
Right.
breaks the ice and sets the tone, because we're going to talk about, problems. So let's be friends and have an intimate relationship across a meal before we do that. And I think that's for me, that's the part that I'm like, how do I help people? Because there's that technological boundary. Not to mention the kids are driving me nuts.
We've had, I think the biggest thing that we've noticed, I don't think people are bothered by the technology part. I think that they're actually embracing it. But we've had more requests for, is there any way we can get together? Can we have a party in the parking lot? When are we going to meet again? And so it's just bringing up the heightened sense of people's need. I think it's a core need too, to be in front of people. And I think it's changes, the degree of that changes with, age and culture. But we've had a lot of requests and a lot of statements of, I can't wait to be together again. I wish they would say, I can't wait to come to church to hear this sermon. I can't wait to come to church to hear the music. I can't wait to come to church. They're not. What they're saying is, I can't wait to come to church because I want to see my friends. And really, in a weird way, it has nothing to do with church in and of itself. It's the core human need to have interaction and sit face to face with somebody at a Starbucks and have some coffee, just like you guys are saying.
Yeah, we have a normal Wednesday morning coffee that we haven't been able to do for a while. It's just not the same.
I mean, I do it myself. I mean, just drinking coffee, and I wish I could say I was thinking about you guys, but
mostly just thinking about the coffee, right?
Just thinking about the coffee.
Kyle, what do you see as some downsides here?
I mean, I think the downside is summer's coming. People are going to get back to their normal life. They're going to get the chains taken off, and we're going to expect that they're going to come back to church. And although they may for a few weeks, it's Michigan. They're all going to go north. So they're going to have fun. They're going to get on lakes because they haven't been able to do that. So they're going to enjoy the things they haven't been able to do. The problem is, are they going to come back to church on Sundays, or are they just going to expect to watch online from northern Michigan?
Right.
And I think that's the real question, is how do we embrace that? I've heard it being called the side door now. Is the internet? It's the side door, of church, and people can go. We generally would have 70 people up north in July,
Mhm.
Having family time. But I think this is a great training opportunity to tell people to have life and and still stay connected. And yes, that's the one thing we're really trying to think through. I'm not worried about right now or next month. I think all will be well. But June, July in Michigan are the
Mhm.
8 weeks that people really have to enjoy the outdoors, and they
Yeah,
do. And I
because
think people are going to do that now that everything's closed, all the parks are closed. I think it's going to be
mhm.
a competition more so than ever
Mm.
for where people are on the weekends as they get back to their regular jobs and life
Yeah,
and have a weekend.
if we don't get out in the outdoors and feed the mosquitoes, maybe all the mosquitoes will die off this year. So that'd be terrible.
One of the things we've been talking about is this has pushed us into a new paradigm, and I've been saying to some of our leadership team, like, there is no going back at this point. We have to come up with a way to integrate both platforms so that people can worship how they want. And I agree with Kyle completely. We see an exodus during the summer as well, and I think because of what we've had to do because of the social distancing and all that, I think now it's going to become the expectation for sure. There's no doubt in mind that we're going to have to be creative in how we move forward, because some people will just want to come back to church. I get that. But now that we've presented option B, now people are going to be saying, well, I want to be up north, but I want to be at church. So I'm going to do option B. And I want to do option B. And so in order to continue to maintain and stay connected, we can't go back on that. I don't feel like we can. I think if we try to, I think if a church tries to do that, they're going to run into a missed opportunity, and they're going to get so focused on the unknown and what they're not used to that they'll miss an opportunity to minister in a way that is new. It's going to be new for all of us. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, think about this. Why do we meet on Sunday mornings?
Great question.
Because
I thought about that a
we
lot.
want to get it out of the way before people go enjoy their day.
Exactly.
So I'm really thinking through about this summer that we're going to have Sunday night church for the people who are coming back from up north, who could come on a Sunday night service, but they can't come on Sunday morning. But they would. So, we've already done alt church, which we do Sunday nights once a month. But we may end up doing that as a weekly thing and invite our people and have a full-blown service that people can come to after they get back from a long weekend, and make it short, make it an hour or less, 45-minute service where they can still engage and be part of meeting together, because we're not supposed to give up meeting together. But we have to train our people to know that why it's important to try to get back early from your trip to have that community time, because they're going to go. Like they're not going to go. They own properties, they got boats, they're going to go.
Yeah.
Now I just want property and a boat. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it can't have an end right now. It can only be a kayak or a canoe.
Oh. Yeah. So what about, one of the things that we all believe in very, very strongly is outreach. How do you do outreach when nobody can go anywhere? I mean, I guess you have to plug into the digital world, but how do you engage people's attention when you're competing literally with an industry built around entertainment? How do you do outreach at this time?
We're doing paid advertising as outreach.
Okay.
That's how we're doing outreach.
So paid advertising would be just basically taking the materials that you already put together and then expanding their footprint.
Yeah, getting them out on a broader basis. Yep. Very targeted, very retargeted, very specific, so they have the best opportunity to find success.
Mm-hmm. See, one of the things that Pathway as a church, because we're small but mighty. And so we do a more missional approach to outreach, where you as an individual in the church, you are also a minister of the gospel. And so connecting with people, not so much at the attractional, hey, here's who we are, here's what we do kind of a thing. It's being in somebody's life. And so for us, I think it's just continuing to encourage that. The people that you're in quarantine with, the people that you're beside in your neighborhood. I know we're supposed to practice social distancing, but I run into my neighbors and talk to them. My wife has actually been phenomenal. She's been baking bread. So you may have to come roll me out of the house when this is all over. And she's delivering bread in the neighborhood. She knows everybody's name. She's connecting them to our digital stuff, but it's just a different perspective. It's a smaller scale, trying to connect with people.
Well, yeah. And we've seen that. You mentioned the digital stuff. We've seen that reach expanded as we share it on Facebook. Our people then are sharing it with friends and relatives, and people are contacting me that I never in a million years thought would watch one of our church services online, and yet there they are. And so I think the online digital aspect is key to outreach, not just now, but even moving forward as well, as we talked about already. We've got to continue this. What you called it, a new paradigm, I think, JP, a few minutes ago. I think that's true.
What about, we're all looking for like the end date. So what are some short-term plans that you might have for your church? And so there'd be different perspectives. Okay. A short-term perspective would be like, okay, everything's going to open back up in May. We'll be back to normal by June, July. That's a short-term perspective. A longer-term perspective is, okay, maybe next May, things will be more free, more opened up. And so as you think about short-term planning, what are some things that you're doing in the short term?
Yeah. It's hard to make even short-term plans because, I'm just trying to take it a day at a time at this point.
Yeah.
The information that's coming out of Lansing and Washington, and keep an eye on that. I would love in Jeremy's perfect world, I'd love to see us go back to church as usual May 3rd. April 30th, the quarantine's over. May 3rd, we're having services again. And like you said, things are back to normal by Memorial Day. Right. Is that just wishes and dreams at this point? Time will tell. Kyle says, yeah, probably. I'm just trying to take it a day at a time with the information that's given to me, and hoping that we can have a church service again in May. Kyle thinks that's wishful thinking. So what are you thinking then, Kyle?
I think we won't be back to service full bore until the fall, late summer, and I think we'll be able to meet in part. I think that depending on who gets what political party gets with their way, but I think that because of Michigan still number 3, I think we're going to be going. Well, they'll probably open us back up to meeting in groups of 10 to 25 to 50 for a while, and then they'll increase it to 100, and then I think we're going to go to 250. Which until we go to 250, that's going to limit us. Mm-hmm. So we're already making plans. Like we have full plans at all those levels of what it's going to look like. How we're going to do it, whether we can go to drive-in services, outside services. I don't know, like if they'll allow us to use different parts of our building and have broadcast in different parts of the building so people can still be together. But will we have to separate the building in essentially 2 buildings and not let people cross-contaminate? Like we've already got like all these contingency plans because everywhere I look across the world, nobody's going back to life right after all this. I can't imagine May 3rd we're going to. I think May. I think by Mother's Day or maybe shortly after. I always said Mother's Day at the beginning. We would go back to like 50 people. So I think that's my first belief is we're going to go back to 50 people, which means like 6 services for us, which is insane. But
at 50 people, pathways back to normal. So small church for the win.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, and so you said if we go back to 50 people, that'd be 6 services. Like, how would that work? You'd open the doors for your 9 o'clock service, and once 50 people are through the door, you guys got to wait till the next one.
Yeah, we're got contingencies.
Divide it up. You're like, okay, you come to this one, you
name.
come to that one.
Tickets. You got to sell tickets.
Last name. We might do tickets. We might have a drive-in service, and like you can be in the driveway, but you could also be in the building. 50 people in the building and 50 people in the gym. So sanctuary 50, gyms 50, and drive-in service 50, and just do that twice. Like so. Yeah, we've got all this infrastructure. We're already setting the infrastructure up in case we have to do that way. But you can look at like Eventbrite and those type of places. As long as you're not charging for the event, you can utilize those sources free. So then you can just assign 50 seats for each service, and when they're gone, and just tell people they got to come when they sign up for it, because you don't want to get broken up. But
yeah.
I just read that Ann Arbor police are starting to enforce, Washtenaw police are starting to enforce the fines more heavily. I know in my hometown in Ohio, they're enforcing the fines. Like they're because people aren't listening. People are having parties. They're having families over for Easter. I know people in our church are having people over for Easter from out of state. Like people aren't listening, so they're going to get more stringent. So I don't think what they're just now starting all these to enforce these fines, we're going to get back to normal in a couple weeks. So I would be surprised. I'd be thankful.
I think for us, the status quo right now is we're just going to keep doing what we're doing until we're told that we can't do it anymore. We're having about 5 to 10 people in the building. We're practicing social distancing. We're doing a normal church service, which has its liabilities. But we've also got some digital stuff that we've tried to connect people more broadly. And so we're going to continue to do that. But I think, I think one of the things I read from, Carrie Newhoff is that you just have to be flexible because we don't know what the details are. We don't know how it's going to shake out.
Take it one day at a time.
It is a one day at a time kind of thing. It is a connect with people as best you can kind of a thing. It is, pray with people, just phone calls, A lot of people I've called, some of them are like, why are you calling me? And then other people are like, thank you so much for your call, and you never know. So you just got to keep kind of putting it out there. And, text messages, I got a lot of my younger people do text messages, but Lord, hasten the day where we can open the doors again and have our communities just be in community. So, well, hey guys, thanks for coming out. I really appreciate all of you. I look forward to the day when the coffee shops are open and we can just sit around and drink coffee together. But
Kyle, I just want to rub your shirt for some reason. I don't know why.
It's soft. It's very soft.
Fuzzy? Oh, it's
It
soft.
is fuzzy.